Philadelphia is a major city on the eastern seaboard, one of the oldest in the country, our former capital. It's in the state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania could be a swing state next week. All of that explains why the media are ignoring the rioting and the violence that have gone on in Philadelphia all week. The police there were ordered to stand down as more than 1,000 BLM activists, Joe Biden voters, and anarchists looted and destroyed businesses. A lot of people were shot, most of the other looters. Authorities only started to take action after they found a van full of explosives in the city. But Antifa and BLM did not stop attacking businesses. They also attacked the handful of reporters who tried to cover what was happening there. As we showed you last night, they did it on camera.
Hey, yo, bro, stop recording. Stop recording, bro. Stop recording.
Elijah Schaefer is the reporter you just saw being attacked on camera. He's with The Blaze. He's reporting on the riots. He joins us tonight. Elijah, thanks so much for coming on. I mean, what the hell? What country is this? Where was that, by the way? Was that at 7-Eleven?
No, that was actually a Five Below, so a discount store that sells $5 and under items.
Tell us the context for that.
Yeah, so the police, I guarantee you they were told to stand down. They lost control of several city blocks. Law enforcement failed to not only stop a first round, but a second, a third round of looting across 4 or 5 different entire shopping centers. These were not just little strip malls from the middle of America. This was a Walmart supercenter strip mall. I mean, this is something massive that you would think they would have security. Police would make this a priority, but no, the police just stood by as people went into store after store after store. And what's crazy is, as they cleared one store, then the rioters and looters would jump to the next, and they just couldn't keep up with them.
So you're a reporter, you're doing your job, you were committing journalism in the middle of a riot. You got assaulted for doing it. Did all the journalist groups, the Committee to Protect Journalists, did they rush to your defense, pay your medical bills, demand justice?
No, actually, that's quite the opposite. I think if you slow the video down, and according to a police officer I spoke to from the Philadelphia department, one of the looters there had a gun and he pulled it out on me. You can see him briefly as you do a play-by-play. So they came at me with a firearm. They came at me with a mob. They started attacking me. They immediately punched me in the face. And what was interesting is they were specifically targeting white journalists. There were other great journalists that were there that were people of color, but they were leaving them alone. And you see the racial divide in this country where, it's not only not safe to be a reporter telling the truth, but also the racial tensions have made things very difficult in this country. The narratives that are being played. I mean, the man had a gun, and I'll say this. I was lucky enough, I owe it to God, and I give praise to Jesus for saving my life in that moment, because just right outside, a few 100 yards away, or 100 yards or so, a 15-year-old girl was shot. Multiple guns were fired, and so they had guns, they were using guns, but luckily for me, all I received was about a dozen or so blows to the head and the body.
This is happening because people are allowing it to happen, people in charge, and they should be ashamed, deeply ashamed of themselves. So nobody came to your defense? There wasn't an editorial in the New York Times that a racist mob attacked you, threatened you with a firearm, beat you up in the middle of a major American city?
That's a good question. I know the New York Times talked about people that they call the right wing glorifying or exaggerating or hyper-focusing on violence. And I have to say to someone at the New York Times who's sitting in their office that is, writing in the comfortability of their flat, writing and judging and characterizing people, look at my face. I mean, this is good. I'm a young man. I'm married. My wife is at home. And I'm just there capturing the news while they're not. And they look at someone like myself and many other brave people who are putting their lives on the line, and they tell me my face being beaten, a gun being pointed at my head. This is the second time in just a few weeks I've had a gun pulled out on me for reporting on these riots. You're telling me this is an exaggeration? Well, I'm taking blows for America, and you're sitting there in your fancy desk and your nice salary telling us, real reporters, why we're wrong. And that's why I have a whole tell-all. I have a show called Slightly Offensive that covers all of this. It's a Blaze TV show. And tomorrow on YouTube, I'm going in this step by step, because journalism is dead in this country, and it's dangerous. And I know why the journalists don't go out there and do this. It's because it actually takes a risk. It requires sacrifice. That's right. And that's been lost today in our country. And it breaks my heart to realize that people are not getting truth. They're just getting opinion. And the truth that's being set free out there by many brave and amazing independent and right-wing journalists, and even some independent and left-wing journalists, is being shut down by the corporate media companies because they refuse to show America what's really happening. And I think Americans deserve better this election season.
Yeah, well, there are going to be consequences too, because at some point, people are going to take the law into their own hands. I don't want that. I don't think anyone does, but that's inevitable if they allow this kind of disorder to continue. People are sick of it, and they have every reason to be. Elijah, I'm glad you're okay. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.